I've taken it twice, and I improved this last time I took it, but I'm still not. I'm not at a score range that I really feel would be in a position to make me competitive to several of the schools that I'd like to apply to. So what I'm looking for really is a different direction on where to take my study, and I'm certainly looking to take a different direction than the program that I took, which is a nationally based program that you may have mentioned a time or two on your broadcast. And I'm looking to take a different direction, really get some more resources under my belt. In researching your program, I really like the option of working in workshops and working with others to try to improve. And I think that sort of direction was lacking in the last program. So it's really something I'm looking forward to. But really, I'm looking at where and how can I improve versus my last score, and what's really what are those resources that I can tap into to get into the 160s, which is really my goal.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad to have you on board. I'm happy to help. And yes, one of the best things about the LSAT Unplugged course is the workshops. We have live sessions 5 nights a week, including study groups, including workshops, going through problems and reviewing them in depth using the Socratic review method. And so you can get feedback and get a little bit behind the scenes thinking from a variety of people who are going through the process right alongside you, and you can discuss those problems together. So I definitely encourage you to take advantage. It's a supportive, collaborative environment and community. So you don't have to feel like you're going through it alone, and you're also just not being lectured to the entire time either. There's a lot of interaction, a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of fun.
That's really what I'm looking forward to, because the other program that I took last year, it was really it was web-based. There wasn't that collaborative option that you just mentioned. And I think having the opportunity to ask and answer questions in a real-time format will certainly improve my performance on the test.
Fantastic. Great. Well, I would definitely encourage you to attend. Currently 5 nights a week. We'll probably add on more in the future. The classes are typically starting at 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern time. But again, we'll add on more in the future. So just attend whatever you can make. If you ever can't make one, that's fine. All the classes are recorded. They're uploaded to the course platform, so you can watch them later too.
That's fantastic.
Are there any particular areas that you're struggling with or challenges that you're facing that I could support you on right now?
Well, I think really the two largest areas that I am working on and need improvement on are certainly logic games, and really the biggest one I would say is reading comprehension. So I think my biggest need for reading comprehension really is the combination of improved accuracy and speed. So when I was practicing and taking a test, practice tests, and on this most recent LSAT test, it was not uncommon for me to be on the third logic or third reading comprehension passage and find myself really behind on the clock and really seeing that time pressure impact my performance. And I'd really like to see what I can do to learn different techniques to improve on that area.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I'll say a couple of quick things now and then encourage you to go to the Reading Comp deep dive classes for more. We'll spend an entire hour on one passage in depth. But there's some quick thoughts for now. I mean, if you're having struggles with time constraint, I guess the question is, where are you allocating time? Where could you shave off some time? So I'm curious to know, what do you do in terms of any note taking on the passage, or what's your general process like when you first encounter a passage?
Sure. So my process when I encounter a passage is I'm reading through, taking it paragraph by paragraph, and I'm jotting down some brief notes. And and then of course, I'm going to the questions and trying to address the questions as quickly and accurately as possible. But I suspect I'm burning up some time on probably taking too many notes, probably getting too buried into the details. So really, I need to find a technique that allows me to uh, be able to, handle the information in the passage without getting mired down into the details, but still be able to have a really good functional understanding of the passage, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question is, are the notes that you're taking serving you in terms of actually getting through the questions themselves? Are they helping you focus on the right things? And how long actually are you spending during the note-taking process?
So yeah, normally when I'm timing myself on the reading comprehension passage, usually by the time I'm done reading the passage and taking notes, it's usually at least 4 minutes into the passage. Which, if we allocate 8.5 minutes per passage on average, that doesn't leave me with a whole lot of time for those other questions or for the
No,
questions at all.
no, definitely not. I mean, you have an average of 8:45, 8 minutes, 45 seconds on average for each of the four passages or passage sets, plus their associated questions. So you certainly can't spend 8 minutes simply reading the passage and taking notes if you want to cover all four. Really, you might want to spend max 3 minutes on the initial read of the passage and any note taking, maybe four on a really tough passage, but then you've also got to make that up on one of the easier passages if you want to cover all four.
Right, right. And I suspect with different techniques and practicing those techniques, that'll improve. It's certainly very challenging.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a challenge. It takes time to figure this out. What's your target test date?
So I'd like to test in June.
Okay, good. So you got 3 months.
Yeah. And I've downloaded your 3 month study plan, and I've knocked out a great deal of logic games this weekend. I guess the silver lining of taking the test twice already is that I have some familiarity with a lot of the, different sections of the test. I'm just thinking on this third go around, which hopefully is my final go around, do I take a fresh approach towards everything, or do I try to boost up areas that I'm weak and try not to take a scorched earth approach towards my study and my practice, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you have all the benefit of what you've done prior. That's all there. All the proficiency, all the knowledge, all the familiarity, that's all going to serve you going forward. At this point, it's not really about just getting more information about the sections or question types in the abstract. It's about really applying them under timed conditions and seeing what ends up actually working for you in terms of pacing.
Indeed, and I think practice and workshops. I think that will certainly go a long ways towards boosting that performance. And I know in doing some research on the test, it said people should take at least 20 practice exams before they test again or before they take a test. I know that can be higher or lower for some people. So I the good news is I have access to all of the tests that I've downloaded PDFs, and I have plenty of resources. So I think it's just practice application of existing techniques, learn new techniques, and really just keep working at it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about finding techniques that will actually work for you under timed conditions at this point. Regarding the number of practice tests to do, yeah, I mean, 20 is fantastic if you have the time. Even 10 would be great to help you work on the pacing and endurance. I mean, my course will help you a lot with the strategies under time conditions, as well as the review process after the fact. And I'll give you some different ideas regarding how you might drill reading comprehension, for example, since we were speaking about that. And you can also play with different levels of note taking. I mean, generally, I'd say just try keeping it more minimal. If you're spending 8 minutes on the read and the note taking, that's obviously not going to work under timed conditions. What could you do with no notes? What could you do with only a couple of words? Try them out. Experimentation, I think, is really going to be the key for you. And you have space to play with that over the next few months.
Fantastic.
But yeah, come to class. We got classes going on all the time. We have reading comp every week if you want to focus on that. And you can also, in the meantime, catch up and watch the recordings of all the previous reading comp classes. There are several, at least a dozen or more at this point.
Fantastic.
Matt, any other questions for today?
No, I think that's it. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and really dive into all the resources available online and the workshops. And I'm really excited to, really strengthen some areas, gain some knowledge and some approaches, and just keep working.
Fantastic. Well, keep at it, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.